Bolt fam, take a deep breath because today is heavy on every Chargers fan's heart. We've got the possible return of a key weapon on offense, a serious conversation about immediate help in the backfield, a quiet weakness that could cost this team a playoff spot, and on top of that, projections that might reshape the future of this defense. Every move now carries massive weight down this final stretch. There's a big decision coming straight from the top, shaking up the entire locker room. You won't believe what's coming, so sit down, drop a like, and let's get into it. Bolt fam, let's be real here. This final stretch of the Chargers season is not for the faint of heart. 6 games left, a 7-4 record, and almost no room for error. And in the middle of this chaos, there's one question that can define this team's future. Does Omarion Hampton come back to become the true difference maker for this offense, or are we going to live off hope and flashes? Before his injury, he wasn't just another running back. He was the living embodiment of the Chargers' aggressive plan. Run hard, catch passes, punish defenses, snap after snap. In just 5 NFL games, he showed exactly why he was a first-round pick. Over 300 rushing yards, more than 100 receiving yards, touchdowns, explosion, vision, and all of that with the offensive line still relatively healthy, with Joe Alt anchoring the left side. With Alt on the field, Hampton looked like he was playing on a different level. The run game clicked and play action became dangerous enough to keep defenses honest. When Hampton went down and landed on injured reserve, the script changed instantly. Kimani Vidal stepped in, and you can't say he disappointed. He ran hard, produced, and carried the load in several games. Even so, you can feel that something is missing. That presence of a true franchise back who changes the way a defense lines up against you. And to make it worse, Joe Alt's injury blew up the board even more, taking away the exact combination that made this rushing attack look so promising at the start of the year. Right now, the big question is how this offense will look when Hampton returns without Alt at left tackle. With a patched-up line and massive pressure in a playoff race, can he have the same impact? Will Jim Harbaugh tweak the scheme to protect the run game even more? If Hampton comes back close to 100%, he can be the X factor this team needs in the final 6-game stretch. If he doesn't hit that level, the Chargers run the risk of watching a promising season slip away in the details. That's why this Week 12 bye almost feels like a portal in the season. It's the breath they desperately need to get bodies right, revisit the game plan, and decide how far they're willing to push this return. Because let's be honest, Bolt fam, without a respected ground game, Justin Herbert becomes an easy target, the offense turns predictable, and every mistake counts double. The question is, does Hampton come back to save the story or just to appear in it? Bolt fam, buckle up, because the running back situation in Los Angeles is reaching that point where every decision might define not only the next week, but the whole direction of the season. The potential return of Omarion Hampton after the bye has brought a wave of optimism, but also a heavy cloud of uncertainty. Nobody knows how he's going to respond after 6 weeks out, no contact, no real rhythm, and most importantly, without his 21-day practice window even being open before the bye. That alone tells you his return is anything but guaranteed. And the original plan? Completely gone. Hampton was supposed to split carries with Najee Harris, forming that physical, punishing combo that Harbaugh loves. But when Harris tore his Achilles, the entire structure of the ground game fell on the shoulders of a second-year back, Kimani Vidal. Has he had good moments? No doubt. That breakout performance against Minnesota, some runs with real aggression and good vision. But there have also been games where he all but disappeared, where the line didn't help, and where it became obvious that he's still a developing player. That's where the chaos really hits. The Chargers simply cannot roll into December without real depth at running back. That was never clearer than against the Jaguars. When Vidal went down with a leg injury, the offense just dried up. The team had to turn to players who, with all due respect, should not be carrying the load for a team with playoff ambitions. You can't live like that. The NFL doesn't forgive improvisation at such a critical spot. And that's why Dameon Pierce hitting the waiver wire feels like a siren blaring across the league. You don't often see a 25-year-old back with real starting experience and nearly 1,000 rushing yards as a rookie suddenly available for a team that is desperate for help. He fell out of favor in Houston, and he's not in rhythm, but he's got the size, mentality, and competitive mindset you want in an offense that needs someone capable of taking 8, 10, 12 carries if the game script demands it. He's not a savior or a superstar, but he's exactly the type of piece that can stabilize the offense while Hampton ramps back up. And considering the cost is basically nothing, it almost feels irresponsible not to consider him. Joe Ortiz has already said that building a roster is also about working the edges and the margins. Well, this is the loudest margin move staring the Chargers in the face this season. While we try to predict what the front office will do, get ready, because the ripple effects of this decision go far beyond the running back room. Bolt fam, time to face a truth that's flying under the radar but can completely derail any playoff dream. The Chargers are living through a turnover crisis that does not match a team trying to be dangerous in January. And the issue isn't just the raw numbers, it's the timing, the context, and the way these mistakes happen. It's one thing to turn the ball over in neutral situations. It's a whole different problem when you're giving opponents short fields and basically gifting them points that shouldn't exist. To make it worse, there isn't just one villain here. It's a cocktail of factors creating a domino effect that's hard to stop. Justin Herbert, who last year looked like a fortress with the football, threw only 3 interceptions all season. This year, he's already at 9. Many of them have come in situations where he's clearly trying to compensate for the chaos around him, forcing throws that, under normal circumstances, he simply wouldn't make. That's hero ball, and it's a direct result of a pressured, predictable, desperate offense. But you can't dump everything on him. The defense has also dipped when it comes to takeaways. Last year, they forced 21 turnovers. This year, only 12 so far. It's not disastrous on its own, but when your offense is coughing up the ball at this rate, you have to compensate. And that's not happening. Jesse Minter has adjusted the scheme, the defense gets pressure, but they're not closing plays with takeaways. Without that, the Chargers start every week climbing uphill. Now, there's one point here that's being ignored way too much. The offensive line has turned into a weekly puzzle. Joe Alt is out. Rashawn Slater is out. Mekhi Becton hasn't played to the level they hoped. The interior has been a revolving door. This forced the Chargers to roll out more than 20 different offensive line combinations in just 11 games. There is no quarterback on the planet that survives that kind of instability without repercussions. And that's where both the fear and the hope land on the same name: Trevor Penning. He struggled in his debut, no doubt, but Harbaugh and Greg Roman believe that with a few weeks in the system, with tweaks in technique and conditioning, he can become at least a league-average tackle. If he takes that step, Herbert can finally breathe. If he doesn't, get ready for more chaos. A healthy Trey Pipkins would help. A stable interior would help. Fewer emergency signings like Bobby Hart would help. But right now, the truth is crystal clear. As long as this line keeps changing every week, the turnovers are going to keep coming. Bolt fam, while the team rests over the bye week, the fan base is doing the opposite. Digging into the future, hunting for answers, and trying to figure out how the Chargers are finally going to fix the franchise's biggest structural wound: the defensive front. Because let's be honest, you can't hide from this anymore. The front seven needs to get heavier, nastier, and deeper. Today's NFL is brutal on defenses that can't stop the run, and the Chargers are living proof of that. 20th in run defense, only 5 draft picks next year. A recent history of thin, inconsistent defensive line rotations. That's not a coincidence. That's a warning sign. And that's where the mock drafts come in. And for the first time in a long time, they all seem to point in the same direction. Fix the defensive line urgently. ESPN links them to Amari Washington, an Oregon wrecking ball on the interior. CBS Sports goes with Caden McDonald, a classic run-stuffing tackle. Athlon points to Cassius Howell, a violent, twitchy edge who can wreck plays off the edge. See the pattern? Everyone is staring at the same problem we watch every week. There's not enough impact up front. There's no interior force consistently collapsing the pocket, eating double teams, and freeing linebackers to fly downhill. There's a lack of a true Harbaugh-style interior tone setter, the kind of guy who raises the violence level in the trenches from snap one. And just as important, there's a depth problem. The Chargers can't keep leaning on short rotations, stopgap bodies, and prospects who never really took the next step. What's fascinating is how everything connects. A stronger defensive line changes everything. It changes the life of the Chargers' pass rush, of veterans like Khalil Mack and the entire front seven. It changes how aggressive the play calling can be. It changes the number of turnovers you can generate. It changes the entire identity of the defense. And if the Chargers truly want to sustain what Harbaugh is building, this investment isn't just important, it's inevitable. One more key detail, Bolt fam. In most of these early projections, the Chargers are picking around 22nd. That's not a top-of-the-board slot. It doesn't usually land you a guaranteed superstar, but it is exactly where smart teams find plug-and-play players who can contribute early, especially on the defensive line and at edge, where physical maturity matters just as much as raw talent. Bolt fam, after everything we've gone through today, it's impossible not to feel like this is a turning point. Hampton's return can redefine the entire offense. A move for Pierce can stabilize the backfield right away. The turnover crisis exposes how urgent it is to fix the offensive line. And the long-term future of this defense is screaming for reinforcements that can finally change the physical standard of this team. Every detail matters now. Every decision carries weight. Every game is basically a final. So I want to know, what move would you make first? Drop your thoughts in the comments, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and let's ride this out together until the very end.